Good morning. Welcome to Thrive Talk number 1. I am Kathy Magnuson from Wildwood Learning, where I teach parents and teens how to create personal education and career plans. Today, we're going to be talking about T is for trust in Thrive. I trust my teen's ability to learn in his or her own way. Thrive is a checklist that I created. It's for parents. It's a self-assessment tool to really help you to guide your teen to thrive in both learning and in life. And if you would like a copy of this checklist to be downloaded, please go to the notes below and I will post a link that you can go to download this checklist. Also be sure to subscribe to the Wildwood Learning channel because I will be giving a weekly talk here now for the next 6 weeks. Each week is going to focus on one of the different elements in helping your teen to thrive. So today, as I said, T is for trust. And I really believe that it is your ability to trust their own way to learn and to know that way can have a huge factor on their learning. Also, your teen needs to know to trust others, that they're going to provide in ideas and topics and activities that are really going to support their growth. I have worked in the public school system and also for other organizations and agencies teaching and working with teens for over 20 years. And I have done this and really have found that there are some certain elements that are needed to really help teens to thrive. I also have 4 teenagers, so I'm right in the midst of all of this where we're planning out their education and their personal career plans. My son, who is now a freshman in college, when he was in high school, I had a teacher that approached me in the hallway about one of his assignments. And she said to me, Joseph, he handed in this assignment and it only had part of it done. Part of it was to write something and the other part was to do a drawing about that writing. And she said, when he handed it in, I handed it back to him and I said, you've only completed the writing portion of this. Now you need to go do an illustration about that. And Joseph turned to her and said, I really don't learn very well that way, by drawing something out. Now, when she told me this story, I had to stop and really pause and think how I was going to approach this. Because as a teacher, I know how important it is to have students complete assignments. But as a parent, I was really proud of my son that he recognized in himself that really by making a piece of art or doing an illustration wasn't going to really help him learn that information any better. He really had that self-knowledge about himself and how he learned. So there's lots of different ways that you can gather that information or that you can help your teen gather that information. One is VARK, called VARK, V-A-R-K. And VARK stands for Visual, Auditory, Read and Write, and Kinesthetic. And there's a very short assessment tool that's online. If you just Google VARK, it will take you to that. And you can learn what specific way that your teen learns best, or even yourself as a parent, how you might learn information best. But there's also other ways. Their personality plays into how they learn. Their interests, the environment and where they're learning the information, and strengths, which is also including their talents, really can play into how they might trust their own ability to learn. I really love to use the Strengths Finders. So when I work one-on-one with parents and teens, I love using that formal assessment of the Strengths Finders so that they can really see the good in how they learn and look at some of the ways that they approach learning and approach themselves in their life a little bit differently. So in these Thrive Talks, I just want to give some information about what that looks like and how you can do that. And then I want to leave you with 3 actions, 3 things that you can take out here and do with your teen this next week to really help them to get a better ability to trust their own way of learning. So one action is for you to be an observer, to really watch their behavior and how they may use their strengths or how those strengths and interests might look in them. There might be some things and behaviors that we see that we might label as a negative, which really are a positive. For instance, there might be your son or daughter where they take really charge of somebody or something, and you might call it as bossy, but really that is playing out maybe as their strength of command or executing something. So really take a look at the good and how those strengths are playing out. Also, talk to your teen. Ask some questions. Really be specific, though, about those questions. So, for instance, if they come home and they start talking about something that has happened in class, and they talk about how they really enjoyed it or how they found that interesting, really probe a little bit deeper about that and ask a little different question like, wow, what was really interesting to you about that topic? Or why did you really enjoy doing that project? Or what was it that you really were learning about that period of history? And then learn about those sort of things by listening really carefully to what they have to say. That really leads into what their strengths are and also what their interests are. And then realize that about yourself, you might learn a different way than your teen learns. So it's really important for you to be observant about that and to know that your teen may not learn in that exact same way. So for instance, for me, I have to have things really quiet and calm so that I can concentrate and focus on what I'm either learning or listening to. My daughter, on the other hand, she can have those headphones on, she could have the music going, she can be reading on her iPod and taking in all of that information and learning that way. So really recognizing that her way of learning is different than my way of learning, and that's okay. So I really want to end with the quote from Socrates, which is, know thyself. Really know the ways that and trust the ways that you learn, but also help your teen to know and trust the ways that they learn. Help them to explore those different topics and ideas and interests that are really going to help support and grow and help them to thrive. So I do this through one-on-one coaching and the program that I have that's one-on-one with parents and teens. I also do workshops for parents and teens on really helping them plan out and know what their personal education and career plans are. So if you find some value in this video and what I'm talking about, please share this on social media, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and go to that link that are in the notes that it is going to lead you to the Thrive checklist. I'll be back here next Thursday talking about the letter H and how you can help or be an advocate or help your teen to learn how to be an advocate for him or herself. So until next week, I hope you're able to put some of those things into action, really help your teen trust their ability to learn in their own way, and help them to thrive in both learning and life. We'll see you next week. Thanks. This is Kathy Magnuson from Wildwood Learning.